Hi, my name's Chadburn. I'm 42 years old. I was diagnosed with chronic thromboembolic pulmonary hypertension, formerly also known as CTEPH, in 2012.
Hi, my name's Tony. I've been married to Lou for 9 years now, so I've been straight through all of the PH with her. So
in 2012, I think it was early 2012, I thought I'd just got a normal cold, to be honest with you. Tony was working away at the time and I wasn't getting much sleep, just thinking, you know, because he's out the house and things. My dad ended up taking me to our local GP because I wasn't breathing well either and all my lips had turned blue. And that's when I got rushed down to Kingsmill Hospital after the GP saw me because my oxygen levels had dropped to below 64%. And from there, they actually put me into an induced coma, and that was the last I knew of it, to be honest. The last thing they actually said to me was, "Oh, your body's shutting down. We need to put you into a coma." And that was the last. And I think Tony will be able to explain a bit better what happened from there.
yeah, I was working away at the time. Lou was phoning me every night, middle of the night. I'm trouble breathing, I'm having to sit up. I told her, go to doctors, no joy. Eventually I phoned her dad and told him to take her down, and he did. I had to rush back from Newcastle early hours of morning, and I just got back in time before they put her in an induced coma. From there she spent 24 hours in Kingsmill before they shipped her off to Derby, where she was diagnosed. She was in a coma for about 6 weeks.
On and off it was, because they brought me out of it and then took me back in.
For about 6 weeks. And luckily enough, the consultant there had worked at Sheffield for a stint on the pulmonary hypertension ward, and she recognised the symptoms. And so when eventually they did bring her around, she made an appointment for him up at Sheffield, where she got a full diagnosis.
On getting the diagnosis, my feeling was that I was going to die, basically. And I remember, I think it was Dr. Keeley, wasn't it, that spoke to us. He says, whatever you do, don't Google anything. So we didn't obviously Google it, but it was quite good, actually, because he explained everything, and he drew a diagram, you know, of what was happening, what should be happening, what isn't happening, you know, what is the actual issue, didn't he? And I will be honest with you, I didn't take a lot in at that time, because I think it was just a shock, basically, of, you know, what it was. I suppose you can understand a bit better.
Well, I made the mistake of Googling it, I'm afraid, which was the wrong thing to do, because when you read it on Google, you know, it's all doom and gloom and everything else. But as we went through the diagnosis, we realised that, well, perhaps it's not all doom and gloom. You can be helped with medication and treatment. So we just left it in that, wait for next appointment coming through.
Yeah, we went down to Papworth, didn't we, and saw Dr. Jenkins, and he went through obviously the process of, you know, some people can't have operations, it's more or less medication, but luckily, how lucky you think you are, the type that I'd actually got was, yeah, we can do the operation for you. Obviously he went through the risks, you know, as they do, and I tend to think they err on the worst side more so than the good side, but you know, something's good has come of it. But yeah, it was scary. I will admit it was scary taking in all the information, because it's a lot to take in, to be fair. And Tony came with me and my mum and dad, but I think there was only us that went in to see Dr. Jenkins at the time. Yeah. But yeah, no, and it was a bit of a relief, I think. But I think the worst bit after knowing that you could have the surgery was the waiting period, I think, to have it done. I was told, I believe, in the, I want to say like it was either March or April of 2013, and I had the operation in October 2013. But I think it was just that span of, oh dear, I need to get it over and done with, you know, that just anticipation of waiting.
Yeah, I think from the initial diagnosis to the operation was about 6 months, which is not too bad really for an operation like that. devastating, because as with any operation, you don't know whether they're going to come out, you know, and a major operation like this, and the length of time, I mean, I think she was in surgery about 12, 13 hours. It's a long time to sit and think, a very long time, you know. Her mum and dad had come down with us when she had the operation. We stopped down there in a hotel. And they told us at the hospital, don't hang about the hospital, because it'll just make you feel bad. Go out, do something, which is what we did. We went out and, well, ambled around shops, I would say. Nobody could concentrate on, you know, walking around Tesco's for something for your lunch. It was, yeah, mind-numbing, really. And there was nothing we could do until the following day, because by the time she'd had a surgery, you know, when then they'd brought her around, it was the following day by then. So you lost a full 24 hours and not knowing, really. So, yeah, absolutely mind-numbing.
Yeah, when I came round from the pulmonary endarterectomy, I was told more or less it was a success, basically. Everything had gone to plan as it should have done. I was in Papworth, I do believe, for about 10 days and then came home. But I did actually go and stay with my mum and dad, because Tony was obviously at work, so my mum and dad looked after me. But yeah, I mean, Papworth was really, really good. I had really, really good support. And my mum and dad, and obviously Tony, was been great. And it was just like little and often, basically. So it was like walking to the end of the path on the yard sort of thing, just to get a bit of exercise. And then it was just, you know, like probably going outside the gate to the main road sort of thing, you know, just doing it little and often. And I would say, I don't know how long within, I think when I had the operation in October, I was back at work, not full time, but I was back in January. So yeah, and I was doing short hours then. But yeah, no, it was, I would say to me, it was a really good recovery time, to be fair.
Yeah.
But I think it was my mindset as well. I need to do this. I've been given a second chance, or third chance, as some would say now. Bit like a cat with 9 lives sort of thing. But yeah, and I think it was just my mindset that I need to do this, and I need to, you know, make sure that I'm motivated to do enough for myself now, you know, and that's probably just my outlook.
I was the right-hand man, of course. Wherever Lou went, I went. I still do now. If she goes out on a 5-mile walk, Tony's at side of her doing a 5-mile walk, whether he wants to or not. And that's how it's been right from the operation. No matter what Lou did, I'd be there at side of her. You know, sponsored walks, anything. I'm there. Have to be.
I don't notice it so much, if I'm honest with you. I do struggle sometimes breathing wise, like if you climb 3 flights of stairs, I have to stop and catch my breath. Or if I'm going up a hill and somebody's talking to me, I'm like, no, just shut up a minute. I just need to concentrate, getting to the top, basically, and then I'll talk. But sometimes I do have to stop, don't I? And I think it depends sometimes with the weather. You know, if it's warmer, I tend to find, I don't know whether it's just me, that I tend to panic a bit more, that I can't breathe. So we just need to like stop the conversation. I'll talk when I'm ready. But I don't do too bad, if I'm honest. There is odd days when I feel more tired than normal, but it's just,
yeah, it swings and roundabouts, isn't it?
Yeah,
It really is.
Yeah.
Good days, bad days.
Yeah, and some days you can think you can take on the world, and you do, and some other days it's just, no, I'm just going to have a duvet day today. I would say our relationship, and obviously with the pandemic just recently, I would say we're stronger than ever, to be fair, aren't we? You know,
we've always had a strong relationship.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, it's made us stronger.
Yeah, we're not one for arguing, and I'm always right, obviously, and all that sort of thing. But do you know what I mean? We've got a pretty easygoing outlook, I think, and you know, it's whatever we think is right, we'll do it together, or we'll make a decision, or we'll like compromise, won't we? We're not one for
really.
Yeah. Despite what he says.
Compromise.
Yeah. Tony's support throughout this journey has been invaluable, to be honest with you. And I know I've not been the easiest to live with. Some days when I've had really, really bad days, he's seen me at my worst, he's seen me at my best. You know what I mean? So yeah, his support has been, you know, immense, and it still is, to be honest with you. When I'm having bad days, or even when I'm having good days, you know, he's always up there like cheering, you know, like when I want to go out for a walk, he might moan, but it's like, no, we'll do it because you want to do it, and it's my motivation at the end of the day just to keep going. So yeah, it's been a rock basically.
The support that I had while I was going through it, it's a difficult question to answer, really. I'd had support from my mum and dad because all three of us was in it together. Well, all four of us was in it together. So I've had support in that direction. My family's been quite good, especially my daughters, haven't they? They've been quite good. Work was quite good with time off and things like that. I never lost a penny in pay while we were going through this. So yeah, I think I've coped and I've managed. Lose my life and my rock anyway, so you know I'd do anything that she wanted me to do. So yeah, I've managed. We've coped, and
I think it's
mentally and physically.
It's just taking
really.
it day by day. Do you know what I mean? Just dealing with what you've got in front of you at that particular time, and not looking too far in the future, because you don't know what the future is going to bring. So it's all right. It's nice to plan for things, but not to plan too far ahead. You know, we'll just deal with what's coming today. Mentally,
it can be difficult, really, especially coming to terms with the initial diagnosis and everything else. It does tell on you, but we got there. We muddled through, didn't we? And faced it together. Really, that's all you can do. Face it together.
Yeah, we got married in 2012. Actually, it was more or less 5 months after I was first taken poorly, to be honest with you. We got married in Las Vegas, and I was determined that we was going to go. The doctor did sign me off basically to say that you can go, but you need to take, you know, certain precautions and things like that. But yeah, no, we was determined that we was going to get married. Yeah, I mean, it was 105 degrees. Yeah, it was really hot. It was a lovely day, to be fair, wasn't it? There was 13 of us that went in total. My mum and dad and your daughters weren't there, and a few family members. But yeah, you cried, didn't you?
Of course.
Yeah. My mum obviously cried because she couldn't believe that we'd actually, I think, got to this point after everything that had happened, you know, during the year. But no, it was a lovely ceremony. The guy that married us, he's actually quite famous. He does famous Elvis weddings. We didn't have an Elvis wedding, despite what he wanted, but yeah, no, so it was a really, really lovely day. And the feeling was, yeah, we've actually done this, you know, we've achieved this. I think we can achieve anything now.
Another milestone.
Yeah.
I think my biggest advice for a loved one is you're in it together. From start to finish, you're in it together. And just take one day at a time, really.
And I would say communication is a big thing as well. You know, as long as you talk to each other about things. I was one, and I remember waiting for the operation that time in between the April to like October time, that I'd bottle things up and then I'd start to cry, wouldn't I? Just for no reason, something just triggered something. And he said, you just need to talk to me, And I started to get it off my chest into then. That, you know, I'm fed up of waiting. You know, I need something to happen now. I just want to get on with my life, do you know, as the best I can. So yeah, it's just about communication rather than, I mean, I was one, I think, for bottling things up and not saying a great deal, but I think it's changed both of us that way, to be fair. We do tend to speak our mind more, you know, and if something's on your mind, then just say it and then deal with it after that.
In the early days, I used to lie awake for hours just listening to Lou breathing. Funnily enough, hours just listening, making sure.
And now he just listens to me snoring.